You'd think being royalty meant dying with dignity, on a battlefield, surrounded by weeping subjects, maybe even getting a cool statue. But nope. Some monarchs went out in the dumbest ways possible. We're talking geese, toilets, and romantic pursuits gone horribly wrong. Stick around, because these stories prove that no amount of power can save you from being hilariously mortal. What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into some of the most embarrassing, ridiculous, and downright stupid deaths in royal history. These aren't your typical died heroically in battle stories. Oh no, these are the deaths that make you wonder how humanity even made it this far. Let's get into it. So we're starting strong with Louis III, King of West Francia. This guy was only 19 years old, fresh off an absolutely legendary victory, where he and his brothers slaughtered 9,000 Vikings in battle. 9,000. So naturally, Louis decides it's time to find himself a queen, cement his legacy, produce an heir. King stuff. In 882, he sets his sights on a young maiden and decides to pursue her. And I mean literally pursue her. We're talking full-on horseback chase scene. The young lady, either playing hard to get or genuinely terrified, flees to her father's house. And Louis, very calmly hunting down his love interest like this is some medieval rom-com, chases after her. Here's where it gets good. As he's riding into the house after her, completely focused on his romantic conquest, Louis absolutely hits his head on a low doorway. Just wham. Lights out. That's it. That's how he died. The mighty Viking slayer, brought down by architecture. Didn't even get to continue his family line. His younger brother inherited everything, and then also died 2 years later after being accidentally stabbed by his own servant during a hunting trip. The whole dynasty just gone. Because of a doorway. Alright, next up we've got Edmund Ironside, King of England for a whopping 7 months in 1016. This dude earned his nickname Ironside for being tough as nails against Viking invaders. Multiple victories, serious battlefield cred, the whole package. But after losing a major battle, he's forced to sign a treaty with Viking King Canute. The deal? They split England. And here's the kicker. Whichever king dies first, the other inherits everything. Now, that sounds like great motivation for assassination plots, right? Well, just 1 month later, Edmund meets his end. And not in battle. Not from poison. Not even in his sleep. No, Edmund Ironside died while sitting on his second most important throne, the toilet. According to historical sources, an assassin literally hid under the king's private toilet, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And when Edmund sat down at his most vulnerable moment, the assassin struck upward with a blade right between the cheeks. Yep, the legendary Ironside caught a sword to the backside while taking care of business. He died from his wounds, and King Canute inherited all of England. So remember, always check under the toilet, especially if you're a king with enemies. Charles II was known as Charles the Bad for a reason. This guy spent decades double-crossing everyone, manipulating both England and France during the 100 Years' War, betraying allies, even faking his own kidnapping to avoid battle. Real piece of work. By 1387, karma had caught up with him. His kingdom was invaded and wiped out. He was forced to surrender, and he was basically a powerless joke. Then he fell ill and became pretty much immobile. His doctor prescribed a weird medieval treatment. Wrap his entire body in alcohol-soaked linen sheets every night to promote healing. Yeah, alcohol-soaked. Keep that in mind. So every night, a maid would sew these booze-drenched sheets around the king's body. One night, she finishes up and needs to cut the last thread. But there are no scissors. No blades anywhere to be found. So what does she do? Does she? Hey, go find scissors, B. Use an open flame candle to burn through the thread, or C. Just leave it and deal with it tomorrow. If you guess B, congratulations. You have the same terrible judgment as this maid. She holds a lit candle up to the alcohol-soaked thread, and whoosh. Charles the Bad, who spent his whole life trying to become King of France, was promptly flambéed in his own bed as the maid panicked and fled. The man who wanted to be French royalty so badly, literally, went out like crepe Suzette. Now, most people haven't heard of Martin I of Aragon, but his death is legendary. In 1410, King Martin had eaten an entire goose for dinner. A whole goose. Just absolutely demolished this bird. Feeling satisfied, but probably extremely uncomfortable, the king retired to his chambers. His court jester followed him, trying to lighten the mood and help with digestion, or whatever jesters do. The jester asked King Martin where he'd been. The king replied that he'd been in a latrine, basically the medieval bathroom. So the jester, being a jester, asks, "Does your majesty jest? I just came from there and did not see you." Apparently, this absolutely slayed King Martin. Like, this joke hit different when you're food comed on an entire goose. He started laughing uncontrollably, and he couldn't stop. He laughed so hard and for so long that he literally died from it. That's right. King Martin of Aragon died laughing at a poop joke after eating too much goose. The official cause of death was listed as indigestion combined with uncontrollable laughter. His death led to a succession crisis that changed the entire political landscape of Spain, all because of a goose and a bathroom joke. So there you have it, 4 royals who went out in the dumbest ways imaginable. A doorway, a toilet assassin, spontaneous combustion via medical malpractice, and death by dad joke. These are the deaths that don't make it into the epic paintings or the history textbooks. But honestly, they're way more entertaining than died peacefully of old age. If you want a part 2 with even more ridiculous royal deaths, let me know in the comments below. I've got a whole list of kings who died from deers, bathtubs, and even more embarrassing situations. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm gods bless this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're covering more wild history content just like this. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss when part 2 drops. Also, drop a comment and tell me, which death was the most embarrassing? My money's on the toilet assassination, but the flaming bedsheets are a close second. Alright, that's it for today. Be careful out there. Avoid doorways, toilets, open flames, and geese. You never know. I'll see you in the next one.